stuff pulled up here.
Okay.
Running around like a crazy man. What's going on, Mr. Paul?
Hey, here we go. Let's go ahead and go live right here. This is Steve Paul of 668 Consulting Group, and honored to be here today, joined by Marc and Connor Dube of Active Blogs and also Mile High Mentors. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey. Thanks for
Very
having us.
happy to be here.
Absolutely. So right now, what I'm doing, we're in the middle of this COVID-19 crisis, and it's just awful. We've never experienced anything like this. People are dying, people are sick, and we're seeing a lot of heroes rising to the occasion, and we're also seeing a lot of really helpful people, businesses, so on and so forth, people that are pulling together in so many different ways, and that's that American ingenuity, entrepreneurship. And I love those kinds of stories to start with. But I think that it's really critical that people hear stories of the challenges of how businesses are rising up, and especially businesses that have a payroll, because you got to take care of your people. So Marc and Connor, whoever wants to jump in here, let's go ahead. Tell us a little bit about Active Blogs, how long you've been going, and what's it like keeping that payroll going, and what's going on?
I do enough talking. I'm going to let Marc take this one.
That never happens.
Consider it your lucky day, my friend.
Awesome. Yeah, well, 19 years of consecutive business since I started it from an idea in my head. I actually scratched out the business on a bar napkin with a friend of mine, and we started it, and it's been going since. And so to answer your question, the business is in place, but we've had to make some pivots, along the way in what we've done. You do anything for 19 years, things have to change, right? And we've probably had 3 major pivots throughout the years, where we did a rebranding, changed up maybe some of the services that we offer, and things like that. And this is probably going to be, in the history of pivots, probably the biggest pivot we make.
Got it. Now, Connor, how did you come into the business?
Marc has a different story than
takeover.
It was a brutal, savage takeover, actually.
Yeah.
No, I came from a background of sales. I started my first business at the age of 7, and have kind of always just kind of been entrepreneurial. My first business was selling rocks. I painted and sold rocks to raise funds for the 9/11 rebuild efforts, and have just kind of started a series of small businesses ever since. And then I went to school for marketing, very passionate about sales and marketing. Mr. Dube over here just so happened to have a marketing agency over the years in a sector that I thought was unique. So I came from doing door-to-door sales to pay my way through college. I managed and trained salespeople in another department for that company. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this working for other people thing so much. And I was either going to go straight into entrepreneurship, or it was just kind of natural to start working with Marc and working in his business. So, even kind of earlier in college, I started doing some stuff for him, but as soon as I left, I came in full time, and I've been bugging the crap out of him ever since, and kind of running the hostile takeover ever since.
Well, it's kind of hard not to when you have entrepreneurial parents. It's kind of ingrained in you, right?
100%. And I'm so grateful, and I'm so lucky. I didn't have to, I could have, and feel like I could have been successful in starting something totally from scratch and could still do it. But I had a vehicle that was available to me. So I decided to take advantage of the vehicle, which anybody in any company, any role, is something that they could also be doing, is identifying what vehicle do I have in front of me right now, and how do I take that vehicle and take my skill sets, add to it to continue to add value, grow, and be kind of an intrapreneur rather than just a pure cold-blooded entrepreneur.
That's great. And we love a lot of the things we're seeing from you. Let's talk about COVID-19 and the pivots you're having to make right now. Marc, I mean, you've got a payroll. Have you had to do any adjusting there?
We've held a substantial payroll for years. And some of the changes we were thinking about making prior to the proverbial stuff hitting the fan.
We consider it BCV, before coronavirus.
Yeah,
kind of like BC, but BCV.
BC, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. We were a little ahead of the curve, probably, I think, in probably lightening the load of our overhead prior. Since really it's been common knowledge and everybody's quarantined and all that, we've seriously tried to maintain the key staff that we have and are going to continue to do that. And I feel comfortable that now we got rid of some of the pre-CVD overhead that we had. We will be able to make it through the post, with the payroll that we have currently.
Yeah, it was really interesting, Steve. We actually started before any of this was happening. Like, we're already making moves to kind of make ourselves leaner and meaner in the marketplace. We're working to change our business model pretty substantially and all those things. Like, it was like timing was almost, I mean, timing's horrible, but it was almost perfect in the same sense, because we were already doing things to, cut our overhead, get ourselves just much more ingrained, much more intimate with each and every client. And doing those things has helped immensely.
That's what I'm hearing here is you were already working on how do we give better value to our customers, and possibly you recognized a little bit of fat that had to be trimmed, and how could we be more efficient. So the timing has been really good.
I think if there's one thing Marc is great at is, and I think where both of us align very well, is we're constantly trying to find ways to put ourselves out of business before other people put us out of business. So we're innovating in ways that we're thinking, what is it that would put us out of business? And we're innovating in and around that and being proactively lean rather than waiting on bad shit to happen.
Got it.
Yeah. And I stopped eating carbs to get myself a little leaner prior as well.
That I don't know, man. You remember that meal we had on Sunday and Saturday night? I don't.
And a couple IPAs I had to go along with it. So
I don't know if I can speak to the honesty to that one. We had a whole dish of potatoes and lamb and wine and woo.
Yeah, that sounds great. And this is all virtual, right?
Oh no. Well, yes, sure. It was all socially distanced. We'll put it that
there
way.
you go. Exactly. Okay, so what I'm wondering is, what are your you haven't had to you've been able to keep all your key personnel that are going to help carry the business forward, which is great. And I understand that feeling of having employees. I mean, I made payroll for nearly 25 years, and it's the number one concern. Always, you're always looking out for them. And so what kind of concerns do you hear from them? And also, I imagine you're hearing, stories from your customers as well. What's going on? What's going on?
Well, it's a great point. Our employees, most people don't realize in the wonderful world of entrepreneurship and business owners, most people don't realize, but our employees always get paid before we do, right? And so, we, just realizing that that's always going to be the case. We probably cut our payroll. Mostly what we cut were things that we found to be probably 3/4 of the way redundant anyways. We already felt like we were pretty super redundant in a few areas. And so honestly, I don't think we've ever had to cut staff due to economic reasons before. So it was hard just even thinking about it, but we did find those places that you'd be amazed at how it kind of like things grow on you and how easily it generally is to find areas that can be cut, and the people perfectly willing to deal with having to do a little bit more work. And I'm always cognizant about, because when things get cut at most companies, a lot of times 2 or 3 times the amount of work gets piled on somebody else's plate. And so I've always been super careful to not do that to our employees. And I feel like we actually successfully did it without really having to pile people up too bad.
So it sounds like you've been able to give them some comfort or security just in how you're operating right now.
I don't know if anybody's secure, feeling too secure. I think Connor's done his best job, to be able to do that. I think they see that we've been around for a long time, and, honestly, there's been a lot of huge companies cut their staff's salaries and do a lot of things, and we haven't touched anybody's, salary. Not to say that it may not be necessary at some point in time. So there's, little bit of a disclaimer there, but I never had to do it before, and hopefully we'll never have to do it again.
I would say we're doing our best. I literally just had a conversation with the team this morning, the collective group, and I think the thing that we're doing very well is everyone's nervous right now. Nobody knows what's happening.
Yeah, you can tell them anything you want. Yeah.
Right. Everyone's scared. We may go out of business tomorrow. Everyone may go out tomorrow. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So I think we've just taken a realistic approach with everybody and said, look guys, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. There's things that are within our control and things that are outside of our control. Anybody could be gone tomorrow for any reason whatsoever, but these are the things we can do collectively as a group and to avoid those things happening. And these are the things in our control as a group to avoid things that are happening. So our design guy, talking to our design guy, our content director, our clients, our client communications manager, and just making everyone realize everyone right now is in sales, marketing, business development, design, production, client success, retention. Everybody is playing every single role. We're operating like a startup company right now. We've brought ourselves down overhead wise, and now we're operating like a startup and giving them incentive and vehicles to help to do that, to help us to operate like a startup. And so it's just being honest and just having very hard, difficult conversations. But at the end of the day, you can't hide behind the curtain. And I don't think any business owner, manager, or leader right now can hide behind the curtains. It's just getting really transparent about everything at this point.
So one of the things that happened, both my youngest son and my daughter are both in tech, and they're okay so far because they've been able to work remotely. But when you hear stories about companies like Yelp laying off a third of their workforce, that's what really gets you started to thinking about this, because if you really start drilling down and who is it that pays for their services, now we're talking about you. Are you finding new customers? Are any of your customers cutting back right now? And what, besides giving you the best value possible, what else are you doing with your customers?
Yeah, great question. People are being very conservative in doing anything new. We're teaming up with the clients that we have had for years and finding maybe some new services that we can serve them with. And we've had some recent successes there. We come from a business where we've been incredibly blessed with long-term stability, long-term clients. We've had clients been with us for 8, 9, 10, 12 years. I think for any business, I'd say our average client retention for years of this business, 5 years, 6 years, which I think any business owner would be envious to have those kind of numbers. So we've had this very, very stable business for a long time. And it's just, I don't think anybody is secure in any business. everything is connected to everything else when it comes to business. I started getting concerned when I saw the restaurants across the street from my office closing down, and
that really is kind of a gut-wrenching feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. And even though we're not in retail and we're not in business to business, all of our clients
interconnected.
Are somehow connected with those types of businesses. Everything is interconnected in business.
Yeah, we've had clients we've had to work, adjust, make changes to, but I think the immediate thing I did, Steve, when I started seeing all that was happening, I mean, this was like a month and a half ago when like before I was kind of probably like everybody else, like, oh, this is going to pass. Same with Mark. Mark and I have had so many conversations. This thing's going to pass. It's going to be a quick little wave. And then it got more serious. And then here we are living in the current state that we're living in. First thing I did was go to my team. I'm like, get me a meeting with every single one of our clients. And we went and had just real blunt and honest conversations with each and every one of our clients and just asked them, hey, what do you need right now? Do you need toilet paper? Do you need paper towels? Okay. Do you need me to send you some bottled water, or can I help add extra value outside of what we're doing with our programs right now? That just netted us in a pretty significant sale that rolled in this morning from a client. So people are still moving, shaking. We're blessed in that people need to be reaching their audience on digital platforms now more than ever before because of all of this.
That's a good point.
With restriction on travel, restriction on events, trade shows, people need to know. If you're listening to this right now, people need to know you're still in business. So that makes what we do an essential business, an essential industry. But thankfully, we don't have to travel anywhere. We're already remote. So getting very intimate with our clients, I'd recommend that for everyone, is getting much, more in tune.
Yeah, I'll give you one other example. I've been trying to get a hold of a vendor that I really like, and I was actually getting ready to buy more of their service from us.
Yeah, for us. Yeah,
I can't get a hold of the guy. I don't see he's not putting out any content, any blogs, any video, any communications, nor am I hearing from the emails and phone calls I've sent him. Again, maybe he's fine. I hope he's fine. But like, it's radio silence out there. And so as a business, an entrepreneur, or even if you're out there trying to get a job, you got to let everybody know you are open and ready to do business, like now.
Absolutely. And those are, that's really smart. Some of the ways that you reached out to your own customers with, things like, can we get you some water? What else can we do for you? I mean, that kind of thing. I mean, that just showed some genuine care and concern right there. And it's too bad. I hope the vendor that you're talking about is okay. And at the same time, it highlights you need to stay in touch with your customers. And also, one of the things that I think is really important, because I talk to a lot of people every day, and I see a lot of business people, whether it's contractors. I do work with a lot of contractors, just some of the different business people I know, salespeople, real estate agents, and so on and so forth. And I see this same spirit that, hey, let's go, let's take this on, let's make things happen here. So these are the kinds of things that I think people need to hear as well. Now, one thing, active blogs. I mean, you got involved, way back, kind of in the beginning of the blog methodology of marketing, and so you were kind of like trailblazers. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say like we were definitely on the on the bleeding edge of things back 19 years ago when we were promoting content, and probably one of the first content marketers out there. We started out in the world of email newsletters for corporations, and these weren't necessarily tiny little businesses. These were large companies that we did newsletters for years and years and years. We do the writing, the production, the research, everything involved. Because everybody starts a newsletter, nobody ever finishes one. And so there was a lot of similarities between that and a blog, right? Everybody wants a blog, but it takes time, effort, and energy. And so the two industries are very similar. We just had a pivot on how we presented pretty much a very similar concept.
So that being said, what do you see happening right now? I mean, what kinds of shifts, pivots do you see? I mean, that could totally change your business model.
Us or just business model in general, anyone's business model?
Well, it could be anyone's, but I mean, how do you see yourself, helping your customers out?
Yeah, that's a great question. What we are doing is we're pivoting into creating a profit center for people who more partnerships. I'd say that's the big thing is partnerships. Partnerships on a couple different ends. Partnerships on us providing some revenue opportunities for people who send us business. We're rolling out something Connor and I have talked about for years, and that's one of the beautiful. Like again, I'm not trying to take away from the real jeopardy that this economy is in, and the real jeopardy in lives that people are in here. But where every door closes, there's something else opened up. And I've always been a big believer of how do you turn lemons into lemonade, right? And so we're actually starting a first ever a program called Marketing Matchmakers, where we're having even our own employees and some other people, we're incentivizing them to reach out to people they know, or just reach out in various different ways that we help them reach out, and to send, to kind of present our opportunity for people, and then they retain a nice long-term commission for doing so. So we just recognize, and I really have a heart for these people who they're just graduating college, or they're working at a restaurant, but full of talent, wanting to get into business, wanting to do stuff, and then all of a sudden there's a screeching halt on the economy. And so this is really designed to help anybody who wants to come on board, learn a new skill. If they have great people skills and they worked in a restaurant or a beauty salon or any of these businesses that are just virtually out of business right now, they can become a marketing matchmaker with us. And it can be a side hustle, or it could be a whole career changer for them. So
I love the innovation, and that's what I love about entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurial spirit. That kind of innovation. Connor, what do you think the future is for the big Mile High Mentors event that you're planning for next year?
Well, when all of this happened, I think I thought to myself, do I really want to build something that can be that easily disrupted and taken away? So it's a great question. It's still kind of in the works right now. I don't know if I'm going to roll forward and continue to do a 2-day event in person, like a summit, a conference, or I may decide to do the whole thing digitally through Zoom and all that good stuff. We don't know where we're going to be in January of 2021. I'd imagine a lot of recovery of this. And so my highest priority right now is the immediate, making sure we're keeping our people, our staff retained, making sure our immediate clients, and then some of those other things that are creative, innovative projects that are kind of more unproven, untested stuff are kind of being tabled in the discussion, while we're just literally, like everybody, taking it day by day. So,
it's just amazing to hear what you guys are doing, and like the rest of us, a little bit nervous and at the same time trying to figure things out. You've got that extra, you've got the added responsibility of having to make payroll and keep your people going as best you can. So it's great for you to share this. I really appreciate this. And so we've only got a minute or a couple minutes left here. And go ahead and tell us best way to get a hold of you, and also, maybe tips to grow on. What are a couple of things that, suggestions you have, as far as moving forward and how we keep this economy going?
Go ahead, Mr. Dube.
Yeah, well, first thing is I just absolutely want to encourage any of your business owners, people out there looking for a job, anybody really, you got to turn lemons into lemonade, and you can't put your health future and your economic future in anybody's hands. Okay. That's something that you got to take control of. And also, do not allow anybody to use this as a way to take away any of your freedoms. And that's probably my biggest concern, is that people hold their governments, their politicians to accountability on this. I've read and saw a lot of rights being taken away, and I understand the immediate safety and economic, but please push back on anybody trying to dilute your any kind of rights that you inherently have through our Constitution. That's the first thing. Secondarily, take your own health into consideration. Make sure your immune system's good, and it'll fight it, right? And then, thirdly, to really answer your question, really encourage you, whether you're a business owner, think out, get away from it all, and just say, what's it going to take what's my next thing that I can do to pivot in this economy, the way it sits, to be able to thrive, survive and thrive into the future. And you will find something. I guarantee you're going to find it.
Yeah. I would say to tail off of that, people don't realize how much and this is something Marc and I are constantly talking, and we talk about this with our people also, is your mental health and your physical health and your habits impact everything. I've been joking with everybody. It's like, I feel like I've been training for this because of all the discipline I put into waking up early, taking care of my health, doing things that are uncomfortable, staying disciplined, not going out and partying every weekend, and just staying super duper focused on the big vision and picture. Now it's even more important. So there's kind of this weird push and pull. People are like, just relax, lay back, do your thing, do what makes you comfortable. Now, in my opinion, and people disagree with this, do the things that make you uncomfortable right now. Do the things that are hard. Do that workout that you weren't doing otherwise, and keep yourself disciplined, because that is going to be the number one precursor to your business success. Allow you to be creative, allow you to be innovative. And those are the things that we're talking about with our team. Those are the things Marc and I talk about. Hey, dude, how did you sleep last night? Hey, what's your mentality like today? Just having those conversations is
you know what? That is so cool. That is such good advice, and it's coming from a millennial. I love it. I love all the amazing young people out there today.
Well, I think millennials share that much more than prior generations, and probably don't get enough credit for how much we do actually prioritize our mental well-being, our physical well-being before we do business. Now, there's different people, all kinds of different people, but I really do think millennials are doing an okay job at this. Now, there's others who are taking this time and not improving themselves. What we've done is I truly believe that the companies that come out of the other side of this are going to be created like communities, not companies anymore. Companies are now communities. So what we're doing with all this shit going on is we are creating a community for those who want to continue to improve, educate themselves, create income for themselves. And those are the ways that we're trying to add value, help people, and innovate our own business.
Yeah. And if we can help any of your listeners, any of the people you consult with, no charge, just contact us. Let us know what you need help with. We'll bat around a few ideas, talk about community. That Connor's right. And so just let them know who they are. Tell them they saw us on the podcast, or
yeah.
And we're there to help in any way, shape, or form. Need to brainstorm a new vision a new economic path forward, we can help you.
I love that, and I love you brought up so many good points, both of you there, and you're leading the way for that next generation, Gen V, right? Gen Virtual.
That's good. Yeah, BCV.
Yeah,
good one.
yeah,
Or
I love the
PCV.
part too, because I find myself doing things. Okay, if I'm tired, it's been a long day, jump up and do the dishes, or get my workout routine, work that in, that kind of thing. So everybody, Marc Dube and Connor Dube with Active Blogs, and also Connor's got Mile High Mentors going on. I hope you really enjoyed this. These guys are great innovators, and they're going to help us get through this storm. They gave us some great advice. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers to you, and
thank you, brother.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. Pleasure is mine.
See you, man.